Oh boy, what a morning. So we had some raucous thunderstorms, and the kids were all in our bed and antsy, and I was awake and just wasn't having a good time, and I wasn't gonna kick them out, so I just got up. So I figured I'd get some work done. I've been trying to integrate a new Raspberry Pi, a 3 model, or B+, Raspberry Pi 3, B+, whatever model. And I had it running Emacs for my remote work last night. So I got up and tested it out, and I was like, something's weird with this. I don't know what's up. But it was a new system, so I wasn't sure if something was just off with it. So I went downstairs to my normal box and tried to hit it and still had problems. And then I tried to go to the website and still had problems. It wasn't up. I checked my internet. So, yeah. Suffice to say, the site was down. Not all of the services for the hosted remote work was down, but just like the ones for us. Whatever server we were on was dead or not working. So I had planned on doing, I don't know if I was going to live stream it. It was, OBS is just destroying my CPU all the time, no matter what I do. So I don't know if I can stream. I can record. I don't know if I can stream. Pulling down the files and working on them in Emacs locally makes a big difference. You know what? Maybe FlyCheck was the problem. I don't know. I'll have to check into that, because FlyCheck was giving me problems earlier this morning. So I was awake and I wanted to work and I couldn't really live stream. So I was like, well, I need to keep track of when this is up and when it's down, so that I can at least give them hours of times when it was down. So normally I would just write a little bash script for something like that, but then I was like, but what if I just do a one of those thingies there? What if I put it in Emacs? The website I used, what is it? downforeveryone.orjustme.com. It's just a website that tests whether or not another web server is up and running. So you can tell if it's down for everyone or just you, hence the name. And they had an API listed on the bottom there. Sorry, the windows are open. We went to the zoo and it rained out like the entire time. And we had a lot of fun, but the car smells like wet dog. It smells like wet kid. Right, so it had an API, and I was like, oh, okay, well, if the API comes back with some JSON data, then like I can just parse that in a JSON parser inside Emacs. Like, it's cool to keep all that stuff inside Emacs. So I'm like, all right, no problem. So I start writing I figure I'll write some Lisp for it. And I know I had gotten a request about Lisping. So I went ahead and started recording and got the mic and got the headset and started recording, and I guess the filter, the resize filtering was disabled, so all of the text was choppy and it's like barely readable, and the mic was just acting up, or the headset mic was just being bad, and there was a hiss and everything sounded like it was underwater, but you could still kind of make me out and you could still kind of see what I was doing. But I spent about an hour, lisping around, getting it so that it would, run the command, get the output, test the output to see whether or not that output was positive or negative, and then roll that up into another function that will take that output and print into the same buffer a status and a time if it was down. So in doing that took about an hour.
Then I went back and listened to the recording, and it sounded terrible. So I'm probably not even going to upload it. I literally don't even. I don't know how valuable something like that would be when you can't read anything, because I had the filtering screwed up, and you can't hear much of anything because the mic is just bad. I don't know. I probably need to compile OBS from source or something like that, just to see if I can get the most recent, because it murders the CPU, and it shouldn't. And the longer it runs, the more it kills the CPU, until I can't do anything without there being significant lag. And significant lag for me is like 200 milliseconds. It's super annoying. When it gets past 500, I'm just like, I want to punch the screen. It's useless. And then as soon as I turn off OBS, I'm like flying again. So that's why there hasn't been much live streaming. Gotta be another way of doing it. I don't know. But it was fun. I was still really tired, and I got kind of loopy at the end. So like I can hear myself just like making dumb mistakes and trying to think of words, and I'm like, what is that word? Just lost. So it's moderately amusing. It's just I don't know how helpful it is. Either way, Lisp is always fun to play around in, because you know that no matter what you make, you can use it for other stuff. And I'm in the process now of adjusting some more Python for some of our testing systems. And it's ever apparent that Python is not Lisp, and it doesn't allow me to do all the things that I want to be able to do. I mean, same for PHP, and I'm totally fine with that. Yeah, I'm fine with that. I mean, the syntax is just the syntax. The language is a language, and the limits are the limits. They are what they are. It is what it is, and other statements that mean the exact same thing. You know, it's just PHP. If you can't pass, well, you can't have like global variable scoping through function, like layers of functions, then like, I mean, technically that's bad code, which is the right kind of technically. You shouldn't global in any case, but I mean, it's either that or hard code. I wonder if I can include that definition. I don't know, just trying to figure out, because there's like security best practices, and that doesn't always coincide with like, the language doesn't like it when you do that. It's like, but I need to. Well, it doesn't like it. So you're like, okay, every function that requires a database call, do I need to pass the DB password global variable to it? Like, do I have to do that every time? I don't even, it's not even technically a global variable. It's in the scope. Maybe it is. I don't know. I don't know how you would define it, or how it would be considered technically. I consider it annoying just because it's global but not actually that global, so you still have to pass it around. That's just weird. But whatever, you know, once you write the code, you just copy the code and reuse the code and adjust the code and whatever you need to do with the code. If we were, you know,
if we were all Alan Kay at Xerox PARC, we would write it all from Lisp, from the ground up. With our own garbage collection. Right. So yeah, that was, like I said, it's fun. It's always fun to get into Lisp and mess around with something. I'm trying to not let the perfect be the enemy of the good, because there are projects, like personal projects, that are kind of important. They're like long-standing, and they seem like I need to do them, or I should do them, but it's when things aren't quite perfect, I'm like, I'll do it some other time. But I think it would be really helpful for me to, if nothing else, get something moderately functional for this, like the notification thing, for me to be able to track notices and update things and keep my tasks set up correctly. And it's tempting to just hack something together, like to make it platform independent, though. Like I had these ideas for setting up apps and things that would work within the cell phone, but then I still want to get off of the cell phone. Like, I don't like the cell phone. So I just have the dumb idea today is, not dumb, it's simple. Just use email. Email's not supposed to be a notification system, but that's only because you're not checking it like that. If you make it a notification system and you make it so that it has, chirps and notification sounds, and that the system that is sending you the emails is operating correctly. I don't technically have time sensitive. We'll see how time sensitive they are. If it's a half hour late, it's a half hour late. But I wouldn't really expect that to be much of an issue. And the email checks whenever the email checks, but how is that any different from... Well, it's the integration. It's getting the phone to handle a notification appropriately. And like, Termux has nice notification systems, but like if I'm not on my phone, and again, I don't like the phone, how am I going to get it? So at least if it's via email, like I can kind of monitor that a bit better, I guess. I can make it super annoying so that it, I have to accept notifications that come in via email. Email's free, obviously, and it's platform independent for now. But just writing a little, a Lisp server at home that just reads the email and sends emails and checks for responses, and I can tell it what to do and tell it how to figure out when I'm home and when I'm at work and what my days off are and stuff like that, so that it has, really extensible context for figuring out when it's appropriate or what it's appropriate to send, and what to send, when to send it, and all that, and how to send it even. Yep. I don't know, kind of a weird morning.